So I was looking through my old videos a little while ago and saw that my Roblox Undertale RP video was doing numbers. Fun fact, it was from that video that spawned my first ever piece of fan art, which is awesome. Anyways, as I was saying, I saw that my video was doing well, so I decided why not just make another one. I've been roleplaying for years and I've got a ton of stories to tell. When I sat down to think of ideas, I just kept coming up blank. I literally could not for the life of me remember a single Undertale RP I was in. Hell, it was a miracle I could even make the first video. I was so confused on why I couldn't think of anything, and that's when I remembered. Oh yeah, all that stuff happened over 6 years ago. Then I realized I was an old fart and spent the rest of my day crying. But luckily, from those tears rose one of my repressed Undertale RP memories. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I will be going over the time I was part of the Royal Guard. I will be telling the story using the power of moving images across the screen. Anyways, let's get started. Anyways, this tale goes back to when I was around 12 to 13 years old in one of those Roblox Undertale RP games. My character for this saga was the mighty Sir Percival, the Golden Knight of the Royal Guard. He was this loud, skinny bird person who donned full gold armor, a sword, and a shield. Fun fact, this was one of, if not the first monster OC I ever played. Anyways, Sir Percival was a righteous soul who performed his duties to the best of his abilities. I'm gonna stop doing the voice. It's starting to get annoying, and I don't think I can maintain it for the rest of the video, so normal voice. Alright. Unfortunately, being stationed in Snowdin meant that literally nothing interesting happened, so Sir Percival was mostly bored while on patrol. What made it worse was that there were no other guards stationed in Snowdin at the time, making him incredibly lonely. Yes, it seemed like Sir Percival was going to spend the rest of his days in constant boredom. Until one day, something happened. Anyways, I was just relaxing by the library, being a bored little bird, until I saw a human running towards me. I got up and prepared myself for a fight until I realized that the human had something right behind them. And that thing was a large centaur man chasing them. I forgot the centaur monster's name in the RP, so I'm just gonna call him Taurus, because that sounds cool. Anyways, Taurus was covered in orange fur, donned a helmet that covered his whole face, and large metal rods sticking out of every part of his body. Anyways, Taurus was seconds away from trampling the human, so I decided to call out to him and ask him what he was doing. He turned around after hearing my voice and let out a loud roar. He then proceeded to just charge at me, engulfing his entire body in fire. Luckily, thanks to my character's Royal Guard training, I was able to dodge. Anyways, this guy clearly lost his mind, and if I didn't stop him, he was going to cause a lot of problems for the underground. So I decided to draw my sword and shield and face down the rampaging centaur. He barreled towards me, causing me to sidestep and deliver a slash into his side with my blade. The attack didn't even seem to faze him, and he turned around again and charged. To counter this, I dodged and slashed again. This pattern of charging, dodging, and slashing repeated. The whole time I was trying to convince Taurus to stand down. Things got a lot more intense when he drew two large orange lances and we started clashing weapons. I was beginning to lose the fight as his attacks were starting to overwhelm me. What made things worse was that despite his wounds, Taurus was seemingly unfazed by my attacks. I managed to get some distance from him and noticed the weird rods all over his body. Getting an idea, I charged toward him and activated my special attack, the Golden Aegis, causing my shield to glow with yellow energy. Tauros decided to charge at me too, and right before we made contact, I slammed my shield into the ground, the impact causing me to launch high into the air. I used my airtime to launch onto his back and started pulling out the rods. Tauros didn't make it easy and started running through the forest, slamming both me and him into trees and other foliage. After a few minutes of struggling, I managed to rip out all of his rods, causing him to stop moving. Taurus then collapsed to the ground as I got off his back. As I faced him, his body started turning to dust. He then opened his mouth and finally spoke, begging me to kill him. So I raised my blade and finished the job. What I didn't know was that Taurus was captured by an unknown entity and experimented on. You know how those amalgamates got experimented on with determination? Well, he was being experimented on with bravery, turning him into a mindless, violent berserker, with rods pumping bravery into his body. Anyways, I never found both the entity that experimented on Taurus and the human he was chasing. That story got a little dark at the end, so let's just move on to the next one. This next story takes place a few months after the whole centaur fight. By this time, Sir Percival was starting to trust humans more and more, as a large number of them were appearing in the underground. I also began to expand the Royal Guard's ranks in Snowdin, recruiting a papyrus variant from an AU I can't remember, and I even recruited a human into the group. The human's name was something I can't really remember, but I'm just gonna call him Xavier because his character looked like an Xavier. He had a blue and black striped hoodie, and his weapon of choice was really cool. It was a large red spear that he infused with his soul's power to create stronger attacks, meaning that if his weapon breaks, so does his soul. It was genuinely a really cool concept. As for the Papyrus, I remember that in the actual Undertale game, Undyne refused to make Papyrus a true member of the Royal Guard despite all the work he put in. It was something that kinda irked me, so I made this Papyrus a true member of the Royal Guard. What could possibly go wrong? Anyways, things were looking good for Sir Percival until a strange adult human entered Snowdin town one day and started doing shady stuff. We questioned him about what he was doing and he refused to answer our questions. Papyrus tried to detain the man and he suddenly whipped out a revolver and started shooting at us. Swords were swung, bullets were fired, and bones were thrown. But when the smoke cleared, the shady human was gone. Papyrus must have seen where the man's footprints led and decided to give chase. Alone. Without telling the group where he was going. Yeah, he ended up dying. Me and Xavier eventually entered the Judgment Hall and saw the dust that formerly was Papyrus, along with a note from the man, challenging Percival to a one-on-one duel in the core. I told Xavier to go home and defend Snowdin as I settled things once and for all. As I entered the core, I saw the man, who raised his fists when he saw me, throwing his gun to the side. Honoring this, I took off my cool-ass bird armor and we ended up fist fighting. Now you might be asking, who won that fight? Well, you know how kids in the playground have imaginary fights and keep making up new abilities on the spot, and they know they don't actually have those, and they just end up arguing with each other, and you did not have anti-sword armor, Ethan. Oh, I'm sorry, hang on. Anyways, me and the guy just ended up arguing halfway through our fight, and I had him on the ground, so I would say that's a win for 12-year-old Koos. Yeah, he ended up leaving, and it wasn't really resolved, but I still think I won. Anyways, that fight left a bad taste in my mouth and I stopped playing Sir Percival. But yeah, that was my time as a member of the Royal Guard. If you want to hear more of these role-playing stories, or hell, an Undertale roleplay itself, leave a comment. If anyone out there wants to create some fan art of Sir Percival, he's just a skinny looking bird guy in full gold plate armor, with a knight's helmet looking like a plague doctor mask. Kinda like the image I was using throughout the whole video, but a little different. Anyways, thank you all for watching and I will see you all next time.